So this is going to be a demo for the demo part 2, attempt number 2 for the Twitter replies bot. And we're going to go through it a little bit quicker. So let me share my screen here. And I'm just going to minimize this right here. All right, so I've got my my files here. I'm just going to oh, actually I'm gonna have to exit out of this. All right, so I'm just going to reset the database here, the conversations database, which is holding all the conversations and the steps we've taken so far. Oh, so it's actually a bot. All right. And can you guys see the screen with my terminal open?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so I've reset my conversations table, which is right here. Gonna run this little query on it. So we have our couple conversations, 3 of my own tweets, one from Murat right here, and one from the Sock Puppet account, which is run by Josh. We're at conversation step status 0. We've made 0 checks. So this would be the equivalent of when you have your the things you want to find out, the tweets which you would like to find more about, the location specifically, and potentially other information. You would just enter them into this table, and theoretically the bot will be running on its own schedule and just marching through these steps to get this table empty again. On whatever schedule we determine or see fit, or the stakeholder sees fit. So now that I've got these conversations in here, all I'm going to have to do to advance the bot and make it reply, I'm just going to say bot.advance all. So that's step 1. So each one of these tweets right here, the bot now just made a response and replied to each one. And if I press, if I run this query again, you'll see that the tweet that we made has been recorded.
I received it.
Perfect.
Me too.
Perfect. So the bot is on this, running on this account. I'm just going to go down to these tweets and replies, and there's going to be a lot of, hi, do you have a lot more or do you have more information about the incident of this tweet or location of this incident? Do you have more information about the location of this incident? So Murat and Josh, could you just go ahead and respond to those tweets with whatever response you want to do? It's totally up to you.
Yeah, but okay, but do you have any specific response that you'd like to test, such as like a vague sentence with a vague location in it, or just directly Los Angeles or direct?
So we're not to that step yet. This is the initial step where we're just going to verify whether or not you know more or not. Because if somebody doesn't actually know more information, we don't want them to be saying, well, I don't know, but I think it happened maybe here. I'm not sure. Although that is an interesting functionality. So for the first one, you'd either reply yes, no, or something else. But if you want to get to the location step, a yes with a capital Y is gonna be what does it.
Yeah, and I did just that.
Perfect.
So shall I do no just to have test diversity, or?
Yeah, that totally works. And I'm going to respond on my end to some of these tweets because I've got a separate Twitter account, which is actually not updating. I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to stick with Josh and Murat's tweet because that's a more interesting test case anyway. So now if we go back over here, we can see that Murat responded no and Josh responded yes. Great. So now all we need to do is just say advance all again. But in the interest of making this more interesting, I'm just going to run this as a for loop. So, or a while loop. So I'm just going to import time while true bot.advance all time.sleep 30. All right. So now we have our outputs all down here of just kind of what data we're getting. These prints don't need to occur in a production environment, but they're just kind of helpful for testing and seeing what's going on. So now if I go back to this database, we're going to see that the conversation has advanced a little bit further. And there's now responses to each one of these tweets. So how do you have more information about each one? In the case of the no, then
Receive thanks anyway.
Exactly. The bot sends out thanks anyway. And so that's just to end on a good note in the case that we don't get the response that we want, or maybe it is the response we want if we don't want to get any invalid information. And we can obviously change the verbiage for these tweets as needed or as directed. And Josh, what response did you get?
The response was, what is the location where this incident took place?
So that's also the behavior that we want. We're just, if they say, yes, we know more about this, we're going to ask for more information about the location in which it occurred. So Murat could respond, but the bot's not going to be paying attention to responses past that point. But Josh, if you could just enter a location, just kind of up to you, pick a location.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a city, or should I put city and state?
Let's do a city and a state for right now. A city shouldn't break anything, but it actually, I think just a state would break it right now. But and again, that's an easy fix. That's just another little bit of validation on the response from the Google Places API, but hasn't been a high priority to validate or fix that right now.
Okay, so I'm replying with Santa Monica, California.
Perfect. And so the bot is still running, and we're gonna check and see Josh's response. So Josh responded, Santa Monica, California. So the bot responds, thanks, you're helping align incentives. And that last bit is just kind of an insert here, a statement to say we're aligning incentives. And probably would go something like, you're helping maintain accountability for police in the United States, just to kind of make sure we're on the same team. And this was a helpful thing that you did for kind of a worthy cause in interacting with this bot. And now what we can do is we have our conversations table here, which has been advanced in Josh's case to step 5. So Santa Monica right here. So it's recording the tweet that he sent to us in the last step. And it's saying that we're at conversation status 5, which means the conversation's done. And now these checks made are going to increase each time the bot runs. So you can see it keeps going higher and higher. And that's just so we can kind of decrease the frequency with which we're checking conversations that are beginning to go stale. Because we don't want to waste our bot's effort and our Twitter kind of usages per month on these conversations that we know are not getting a lot of responses. But for right now, we're not worrying about the frequency with which we're checking it. So the last thing we're going to do to just make sure it all worked is we're going to go to this force ranks table, which is where we actually want the updated location to go to. And so that Santa Monica CA that Josh tweeted, that was taken by the bot, sent up to the Google Places API. Google Places API sent back us a zip code, a lat long, and some more information about that. And then we're passing that information back into the force regs table so that we update it seamlessly and without a whole lot of friction. So we have Josh's tweet here. Here's his tweet ID, and here's the username. So fingers crossed, we're going to see a location that's been updated, and we have, which is great. And I should have probably shown before that there was no location there, but these were all nulls. I made sure to delete out all the locations of these test cases. So that's kind of how the flow works. You see how it breaks from or goes from the start to a no, and then says thanks anyway, a start to a maybe, says thanks anyway, and a start to a yes, ask for the location, gets that location, does a little bit of validation to it, and then pushes that answer to the force ranks table. In this case, it's a local copy of the force ranks table, but just kind of a working flow. Now, going forward, the one big improvement I'd like to make on this is including a sentiment analysis model to make sure that we can get more responses beyond just simply yes and no. And I think a sentiment analysis model is going to be stronger than a list of possible ways to say yes or no, but there's an argument for both. And then on top of that, I heard that there was a request that force rank validation or requesting the force rank from the tweeter is also potentially a useful or desired step. So we can just add that as a before or after step, again, depending on what seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, wow, I love it.
Thank you, Josh. I thank
Amazing
you.
work, Rowan.
This is
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you, guys. I'm guys and gals. I'm just glad that we could all make it. I'm glad that the demo worked after a little bit of ironing things out.